tertulia.
Good afternoon, you all. Today is Sunday, April 3, 2011. The entry is 1888, 7 pages, 54 ologies, and 23 maxima. I would like to call your attention to the detailism section with 16 maxima. The topic is anti-addiction, subfield self-conscientiotherapy. The author of the entry is Luis, who's here with us. His name is Luis Antonio, but people also call him Luis Fernando, Luis Antonio, or only Luis. He's able to respond to all of those three names. Now, check the entry because it has 7 pages and it's very good. He understands the whole thing. Now, definitionology. The anti-addiction is the specific set of cosmoethical actions carried out simultaneously to serve preferably as prophylaxis or as a treatment of any addictive or pro-slavery consciential process, capable of neutralizing one or more attributes of the consciousness in a singular or global manner. See that this definition is very well done. Now, the first years of recovery without relapse. The recovery clinics, the rehabilitation clinics, the differential diagnosis considering comorbidities, the dry law, the decadence of tobaccoism, the mastery of the abdominal subbrain, enabling one to overcoming the consciential basement. The disintoxicating aerobic physical exercises, the recycling of the formerly stigmatized image, and the preventive education. In argumentology, there is the prophylaxis with 20 examples of profiles, and I think that you all should look into it. Now, in referentiology, we point out human antiphysiology, self-incorruptibility, emotional health, and mega-intruder turning point. Now, emphatic sentence. Any addiction is definitely avoided or surpassed when the unselfish assistance truly becomes the first uninterrupted priority for the consciousness interested in anti-addiction. Do you, reader, have any relation with an addiction, even indirectly? To what extent? How have you been dealing with this? I also called your attention to the references with 15 items. Now, questions. I am 44 years old and I started applying the technique of the reflection chamber since December. 1 hour in the same place. In the beginning it was very good, but for the last 3 weeks I have been sleeping. I feel very well at the end, but I am insecure. I don't know if I should continue with the exercise, since it is fixed, and I don't know what's going on. Could you orientate me? I think that in this case you should see what your sleeping hours are, because if you are needy, that's why you're sleeping too much. But if your sleeping is well, if you are okay, fit, it may be a helper that may be intervening. So you should write everything down to see what's going on, but insist, don't give up. Now, next, I've been taking the CPC for a month. I am 52 from Belo Horizonte. I don't eat meat, but I come from a carnivore family, and I don't eat even fish, and I would like to practice Penta. I know that I perform some assistance, but I feel that I am worn out physically. I would like to hear from you on that. Well, I think that everybody should perform assistance, but you are saying here that you've been feeling worn out physically. You should see if your diet is adequate. You have to see your weight, your diet, and you have to see how your reasoning is, your imagination, your thought elaboration, your memory, your ideas association, because sometimes the person who abandons meat, if you don't reinforce the process, it gets worse. I would like to tell you that in today's lunch, I ate a very big piece of salmon, and it's very good for this process. And I ate such a salmon that I'm still thinking about it. And I am just thinking about it, and it's very good. It was very tasty. Now, next question. I am a rookie in conscientiology, and I've been practicing it for only 7 months. I have been waking up at 1 a.m. and then I feel I have an insight to install VSs, so I don't know if I encounter a bottleneck of self-organization to install the VSs. What should I do? You have to do everything you can. It will always help you. When you master this process, it will become easier. In the beginning, it's difficult like that. There are bottlenecks to be surpassed. Next, I have started my studies in conscientiology. I would like to know, when death occurs, are we eternal, or there are minutes, hours, or something like that to die? No way out, my friend. We deactivate only the physical body. You live forever, your consciousness. And see, he wants to know if it's a matter of hours, minutes, or whatever. My friend, we have to study much more. It's much more deep than we think, and it's been happening for millennia. And you can't make yourself a target. You have to wake up and just do it. Now, I've been living in a slum in Rio de Janeiro, in a favela, and my surrounding environment is just about people who like funk music or churchgoers, and I feel that my life is different from them. I like to read history and spirit books and so on, and I also follow your classes over the internet, but I work a lot, and I have to sleep early to be able to go to work on the following day. In spite of living in such a place, I feel that I am more cultivated than the others, and I feel like an alien. And what do you think? Do you think that the intruders that are present in this kind of environment could really interfere with my life? I feel that I lack some defense in some places, and even my wife is influenced. I would like to hear from you. Well, I think that since you've been working a lot, you have to make your nest egg and leave the favela behind. But one of these days, if you show up here, you will talk to Glínia, Professor Glínia, who is a specialist in the science of favelas, of the slums, and she will give you a whole set of ideas on the subject. Now next, what's the usefulness of the Alzheimer's disease, since the person is completely alien to reality? What could be the benefits from that, and what are the skills of the helper, the person who's taking care of the sick person to be able to deal with this. The person in this case, it depends on the genetics or several other conditions. The thing is to look into the case, but the best case is to help, no way out. The science of care is very serious. You have to take care of the assisted and the assistant. We have entries on that. It's the careology. Now next, I've been practicing the existential inversion technique for some weeks, but I've had just been in a birthday party with a friend of mine, and I couldn't help drinking some beers. So I would like to know to what extent such a problem, such relapses could really block my evolution. You are still a rookie, you are lacking a better self-organization, and you can't just let go of what you think is right, because otherwise you will be just like that, you will be regretful, and you have to just stop with that, you have to get mature faster. Now next, a person that I've known for some time told me that she's been seeing things in her rooms like big spiders and so on. Would you know what it is all about, if it's something from other dimensions? Look, you have to ask your friend if she used to drink something, because sometimes there are things like drinks and narcotics giving you delirium tremens, like seeing spiders. It seems to be something deriving from this condition, but you have to ask her if she's been drinking or eating something that may work as a narcotics, because in this case there are several factors that may be playing a role. So this is very strange. A big spider, as you mentioned, and you should also ask her if the spiders are black, and it's even worse. But now next, in Factology, page 10, now it's up to you, Luis. In Factology, page 10, third line, bottom up. The mastery of the abdominal subbrain, enabling one to overcoming the consciential basement. I didn't understand how the physiological condition could foster that. Could you give me an example? The subbrain, in fact, is not really physiological. It has to do with questions such as emotions, the emotions that the person has to deal with, and I suggest taking a look at the emphatic sentence, which deals exactly with what will help the person to overcome the subbrain and the consciential basement, which is through the unselfish assistance that the person will deliver. The person will be able to develop that condition, leave behind a selfishness that usually occurs when the person is being taken over by the subbrain. So it is still something very, very selfish. So I don't know if I've answered. Yes, that's the way. Now another question. This night I dreamt with you, and I was able to see that there were other people talking about gurus and sects, and you were asked, Professor, if the gurus, when dead, would still be linked to this idea in the exophysical dimension, and you said yes, they would. And now, concerning the consciousness that we see, because you were a little bit reinvigorated, younger, does that happen? Well, according to what you tell, it seems that there are lots of irrationalities in this account of yours concerning the mental somatic processes. If the person deals with the mental soma a lot in this dimension, with the course of time it could help and settles the onerism, the dreams world of the person, and it all happens. So the thing is to write everything down and see what happens concerning either what you feel or you think. Now for you, Luis, in Paradoxology, page 12, second line, the paradox of the consciousness not having sex, a sex in its essence, and yet many people are overestimating sex. Don't you think that the technique of daily sex is a matter of overestimating sex? No, because when we talk about this technique, the daily sex technique, it's a technique that you are going to apply in your daily life, just like others, assimilation, de-assimilation, vibrational state. It's not something that you will be thinking about the entire day. The daily sex is exactly for the person to stop thinking about sex for the rest of the day.
Agora, a gente aqui da internet, que é o trabalho da professora, a Cecília, o seguinte: gato de 1,23 m bate recorde como o maior, mais longo do mundo.
Now we have here the record of a cat that beats the length of 1 m and 21 cm, but they are stretchy, the cat in this case. If we do this with our cats in our houses, pushing their feet, it's very easy. They want to stretch the cat. Other about science and technology. An eagle is caught upside down during the flight. It was photographed making an very strange movement in Canada, and it seems to be staring at the camera. They are very smart, just like Stanislao Ponte Preta. When there are no fish in the sea, they fly backwards, they fly upside down. Isn't it? People, homemade deodorant. 3 basic ingredients is enough to keep your body perfumed. Have you ever thought about producing your own deodorant? There are people doing so. The website Renest, that always brings nice news from the virtual world, brings the step-by-step of how producing a cheap and easy product as an opportunity to reduce the amount of packages you use and in the search of a perfumed body. Sodium bicarbonate, corn, flour, lavanda, and other essences, and coconut oil. You mix everything and you can apply it to your skin. If you prefer a more solid product, you may put more coconut oil. It will seem that you will have just arrived from the Tarzan forest, but it works, you know. We also have something from internet calling the homicides. There were brothers arrested. They used to have a very apparently normal life in Minas Gerais. And it's very serious. It was very calm. It was a very calm place. What? Yeah, they attended spiritualism centers for 4 years and nobody perceived they were homicides. I have here a letter for the health care insurance. There will be a day of paralyzation for the health assurance service. This mobilization was defined by the medical associations in Brazil. During a meeting made in São Paulo with several unions, associations, and specialists, 160,000 doctors will protest against the immaterial readjustments of their incomings. So try not to be sick in 4 days, okay? Because they will make a strike. One paralyzation day. I am against this, okay? But in this case, they seem to have some reason. I've got something here. Don't you think it's a hat, okay? It's not. It looks like, but it's not. It's the tertuliarium. It was made from paper, made in paper, very good, serious, with several details from the entrance, and yellow. It's our color. You see? Here you are. This was made to... This was used in the imagistic course today. How many answers did you get with this? 200. Ah, come on, like sugar. Sugar spoon. I would do this. I would have 200 answers also.
Vale a pena pensar nisso. Agora, gente, vamos então à anti-addiction. Pode falar.
Luiz, na página 12,
please, on page 12 in paradoxology,
você explicasse melhor o
I would like you to explain the paradox of damage reduction program. Well, this program is used in other countries, and the main objective is to reduce the damage caused by the addiction. So, some of their approaches are to distribute the syringe, so people wouldn't catch hepatitis, and they intend to reduce the damage, but they are still helping or stimulating the consumption. It's not so negative because they are aiming at reducing damage, but the problem is that in Brazil, this program is not very well used, as in Canada, for example. There they have some agencies where people go and make use of their drugs. They give their material, and they have professionals guiding people to not to become worse. And there is also a second floor with recovery process. So they give some guidelines for people to make a shorter use and then look for help to get rid of the drugs. But here we have psychosocial attention. We have CAPS-AD in Foz do Iguaçu. For alcohol and drugs, they spend their days there. They go through workshops. there are nurses, there are doctors, but there is no control regarding drugs. They help people to enter the treatment, but not leaving the treatment. So you don't have much of success here. And do you think this is worthwhile, in your opinion? Well, the way we do here in Brazil, it's good, but it's not 100%. We know there is damage decrease, but the focus is for the person to stop, to quit. And this must be the focus. And if you, when you enter the center, you could reduce the damage, it would be even better. Luis, please, Ivo, letter A. Just reinforce that the damage reduction policy is supposed to have 4 factors united: prevention, repression, therapeutic, and the damage reduction policies. There are some of them that are very difficult to be dealt with, but the best is for the professionals to take into account these 4 factors: repression of the use of drugs, protection, and reduction of damage in the specific group to avoid the spread of the use. Yeah, I agree with you. The problems are the specific policies he talked about. They are not very adequate. They are receiving help to go upside down, to downhill. On page 10, Luis, the intervention targeted at the families. Well, the problem is that there are families where intruders or the intrusion is generalized. The whole family is being dominated by the intruders. So people start having postures within their families completely destructive and abnormal, but the family see it as something normal and banal, and they are not able to perceive, to see that their behavior is completely negative. So there must be an intervention from outside for the family to be able to have some light, to clarify the ideas and notice and realize what's going inside that nucleus. So what about the negative? This is about the negative or of the family. Yeah, because normally the addiction, they contribute for the people to remain ill. Luis, letter B, I would like you to clarify, what did you think about when you say that the differential diagnosis leads to several comorbidities? Well, I aimed at the professionals. There are too many premature diagnoses made wrongly. So their main problems are addiction, but they may have bipolar problems, depression, other pathologies, and the professionals are not able to treat them as a set. So they can't be the focus of the treatment only. I am confused because I thought the opposite. When someone uses alcohol, what's behind that situation is the depression. Wouldn't it be the other way around? Well, the main problem, which is multifactorial, may generate other pathologies, but depression is part of these multifactors that can lead people to enter these problems. So you need to evaluate first. So sometimes it's the addiction pattern or the pathogenic pattern that leads one to a certain pathology. Well, it's hard to say what leads you because it's not something specific. There are several factors, but what is more important is the pure-genetics. That's the most important thing. There are mesologic factors, social factors, several things, but what's most important is the pure-genetics.
Quem é que está aí com o microfone? Você está de volta? Então, hoje ela
Oh, so you're back.
Não manda aqui. Gente, aqui na internet,
here in the internet, pizzeria owner trying to sabotage the other pizzeria owners with mice. He was caught putting mice in other pizzerias. This is terrific. This is terrible, I mean. If you see a rat in a restaurant, you never come back. Definite there are some brushes used in the United States that may cause cancer. They can straighten the hair, but they make damage to women's brain. So if you're straightening your hair, be careful because it's your way to cancer. Okay?
Negócio é sério.
Oi. Aqui, uma pergunta. Aqui. Na mitologia.
Luis, in mythology, what about the social improvement myth? Could you elaborate on that? There is a myth about this. Our ex-president was for it. He used to say, Fernando Henrique used to say that he was for the marijuana use, but nowadays we know that we are trying to reduce cigarette. People can use it, but it's decaying, it's being restricted, places where people are able to smoke or not. We are fighting against the cigarettes, so you can't just decriminalize the marijuana and become like Holland. And they have a history. Nowadays they are trying to move back because everything got worse. There is a side of the city in Holland that it's the barathosphere. It's awful.
Aqui no B, por favor.
Letter B, please.
Na página 10,
on page 10, for enismology, could you talk about the inner recycling and the extra recycling? Well, first you start recycling your surroundings, your habits, and some other factors, because they will lead you to an inner recycling. Letter A, Page 12, please, Luis. Crescendum. The third one, could you amplify this idea? The third crescendum. Self-parapsychism. Self-governance. Well, as we improve our parapsychism, we become more owners, self-owners, and we are able to make self-governance and self-de-intrusion. The problem is that parapsychism can be used as a weak trait or as a strong trait depending on the person. In the case of addiction, many people use parapsychism in a weak trait manner. So one is very sensitive, has a lot of sensitivity, but there is no control of that sensitivity. So it's easier for intruders to go against that person. So they need to use the parapsychism in a more cosmoethical and assistential way, so they can control, they can master themselves. Okay, thank you. Luis, letter B. And numerology, page 11, second line, you said anti-addiction, both multidimensional and mental somatic. Could you give an example? Well, the mental somatic one, it would be good for you to see the definition of anti-addiction. So think about the set of cosmoethical actions, and now think about this aiming at you not being caught in obsession, for example. You should avoid this kind of addiction. Obsession. And what about multidimensional aspect? Well, when the intruder of the addicted person comes, we see that he or herself is addicted. After I started watching Tertulia and targeting my holotosane to conscientiality and CAEC, my sleep hours have changed completely. I feel asleep during 11 p.m. and I had always been a night person, sleeping very late. When I go to bed, I barely exteriorize my energies and I fall asleep all of a sudden. Am I making any kind of extraphysical work, or would it be just coincidence? Well, take note of everything and we'll see what's going on after you analyze it. In Penta Practitioner Handbook, you say that the more evolved, more one can be able to exteriorize the energies. How does it work? Well, through the immediate reposition and immanent energies used. Would the vibrational state potentiate the assistance? Of course. It always helps and improves your energies development. The more you understand theoretically and in your experiences how to use the energies, the best will be your efforts. It's worth doing it. Luis, I have a suggestion in legislology about the criteria to define which drugs are legal and which are illegal. So why is marijuana legal and why is cigarette illegal? We don't have a clear criteria. So it's like arbitrary. It leads to the illusion that cigarettes and alcohol are less are better, I mean, than marijuana.
Tem lá
Well, in codigology,
talvez
I don't know
que você está falando aí,
if we
a
could use
aplicação
this
correta
as
do Código Penal, o respeito
something
ao
we're
Código
talking
Civil.
about, the correct application of the penal code.
Por exemplo, se
Yes,
você
it
fosse
is
tentar
related,
definir as
but
leis de
maybe if you
sobre
could
quais drogas são aprovadas ou não pela
talk
lei.
about this
Na verdade, não existe um critério, essa critério
regarding
eles
the
escolheram que a maconha vai ser ilegal e escolheram que o cigarro vai
drugs.
ser ilegal, mas não tem um critério bem claro para definir
It
o
would
que
be
vai
better
ser
if
a
we could
droga legal, o que vai
define
ser a droga
clearly
legal.
what are the
Então, na verdade,
criteria
ilusão
to
de que as
see
drogas
if
são legais,
drugs,
eles debateram
cigarettes,
problemática
or
da
alcohol are
criminalidade
legal or
ciência,
illegal.
mostraram que, por exemplo, o cigarro
They
ele é menos
could have
prejudicial
a debate
do que outras drogas,
based
né,
on
ou a
science to
bebida
prove
alcoólica,
that
etc.
cigarettes are better than drugs, other drugs. Well, I accept your suggestion. We could talk to Rosa first.
O que ele falou?
Luiz. Oi, Luiz. Na efeitologia...
Please, in
pouco
effectology,
desse
could you
efeito?
talk about this first
Tem um artigo
effect?
sobre isso até.
I know you have an article about this.
O efeito da ressonância pensênica.
The
Isso aqui
phasanic
é problema
resonance.
do zapping.
Well, it's a
Quando
problem
a
of
pessoa
zapping.
é mudada de canal, né? O professor
When
Waldo já
you-
comentou muito sobre isso também.
You
A
change
pessoa é
your
mudada de
channel
canal, sem perceber.
without
Por exemplo, ela entra em
perceiving.
contato,
You
ela tem
get
na
in
psicossfera
touch.
dela algum traço,
In your psychosphere, you have some
mais,
traits,
vamos dizer, que esteja mais
but
apagado
let's say it's
naquele
kind
determinado
of
momento.
blurred, okay?
De repente ela encontra com
In a
outra
certain
pessoa, ou
moment.
vai a algum
But
ambiente que
when
também
you
tem
meet
resquícios
other
desse
people
traço que ela tem.
and
E quando ela
they
entra
have
em
the
contato
same
com as energias da pessoa ou do ambiente,
think in their
aquilo gera uma
psychosphere,
sinergia grande e a pessoa, aquilo vem à
you
tona.
may
Isso também
have a
serve pra, por
synergy,
exemplo, o zapping,
and that
pode
same
ser também benéfico.
factor
A pessoa, ela tem
appears.
traço assistencial,
The zapping can be also
mas ela tá
beneficial
subutilizado.
when
Mas
you
na hora que ela
have
entra em contato com a
a
pessoa
strong
que tá
trait,
mais,
but it's being
com assistencialidade, mais em
not
dia,
well
tá
used.
mais envolvida com os amparadores e tal, ela,
And
na hora que ela
when
entra em
you
contato,
are
ela se torna mais assistencial de repente, de uma
updated
hora pra
with
outra, fica mais
assistance
lúcida,
and get in touch
aumenta.
with
Então, isso pode ser
your
tanto
helpers,
pro lado positivo quanto
you
pro lado
can
negativo.
improve
Depende da
it. It
situação,
can be
depende do
both
que é, do traço
negative
que
or positive, depending on your intention.
O Luiz Oswaldo aqui acima no ar.
Pois não.
Luis Osvaldo here.
Parabéns aí pelo
Congratulations for your entry.
Eu gostaria,
I
aqui
would
nos
like
últimos
to
três
know, and these
sinergismos
last
que você tem
synergies
descrito aqui na
you
página
have
11,
described in page
Isto é,
11.
o sinergismo profiláctico,
The-
auto-organização, autodisciplina, o
The
sinergismo
self-organization,
autodeterminação
self-discipline,
continuismo,
self-determination,
o sinergismo
continuism,
assistência,
assistance, recovery.
Eu gostaria,
I
no
would
teu
like
caso,
you
que você me
to
desse uma panorâmica de
give
cada
me
deles,
an
da tua
overview
experiência,
of them
e depois
based on your
o teu
experience,
depoimento de
and
qual deles foi o mais
would like you to
significativo para
talk about the best, the most significant for you.
Eu acho que, na minha opinião, o mais significativo
In my opinion, the most
é o
important
último
is
ali.
the last one,
é assistência e recuperação.
the
Que é
assistance
a partir
recovery.
justamente da assistência
Because
que a
through
pessoa vai,
assistance, one
da
would be
assistência
able,
continuada, que a
I
pessoa
mean,
vai
the
ter
continuous
que
assistance,
desenvolver
okay?
mais
One would be able to
auto-organização,
develop more
mais disciplina,
organization,
ela vai ter
discipline.
que ter um continuismo
One could
para manter
have
isso, e isso
continuity
vai
to maintain
fortalecer a recuperação
all this,
dela.
and this will strengthen.
Então, quando a pessoa
their
põe
recovery.
assistência como foco,
When I focus
ela
assistance,
inevitavelmente ela vai ter
I am
que
able
olhar aqueles
to
outros ali que você citou.
look
Então
the other factors.
tudo isso aí acaba gerando um grande sinergismo.
So everything
entre todos
creates
eles.
a great synergy among the several factors.
Não sei se
Não,
I don't know
bem.
if
tá claro.
that's clear.
Mais uma.
Well, one more question.
Você tinha me comentado em
You
uma
told
oportunidade
me
a respeito do parapsiquismo
about
céu,
your parapsychism.
Momentos antes de tu início dentro da adicção,
before entering addiction. I would like to know how all this happened during addiction and how did it develop after you got rid of addiction.
O parapsiquismo ele pode ser
well,
tanto problema quanto a
parapsychism can
solução.
be a problem or a solution.
Como eu comentei aqui no início,
just like I said before.
Normalmente as pessoas, os adictos,
generally addicted people have some
sensitivity. Por essa sensibilidade maior, mais aliado à permissividade,
connected to
o assédio, é que acabam
permissivity regarding intrusion, they allow the intruders to enter their lives. Because the more sensitive the energies,
mais fácil vai ser
the easier
dela interagir ou com
for them to interact with helpers or intruders depending on their
ela pode acabar virando uma marionete.
They can become
Por isso que eu coloquei lá também
Muppets.
Na interaciologia.
That's why I talked about this in interactionology.
Parapsiquismo, criticidade.
Parapsychism and
começar a desenvolver, ela
criticity. One should start developing
está tendo alguma ideia diferente do padrão
because
dela.
when you start perceiving a different idea from your pattern, you need to have self-criticism and ask if that's yours or not, if that's under the helper's orientation or not, if it has cosmoethics or not.
O parapsiquismo.
Through this, you will be able to qualify our parapsychism. I don't know if that's clear. In my experience, that's what happened, okay? I had to qualify my parapsychism in order to avoid this kind of intervention from the intruders. So in effectology, could you talk about your experience, the intermissive course effects, both in prophylaxis and the recovery of the addictive people? Well, this is exactly what, in my case, had a weight. It weighted a lot, and it helped me keep the recovery. The intermissive course, I mean, because when we leave our existential program line, somehow it sets off an alarm, you know. If it's something completely anti-proactive, this alarm becomes even louder. And we try to come back, to go back to line, go back to our way, and try to leave that condition to reach the existential program again. In my case, this is how it worked. It's less like a compass. I think Loshi could help this also. But in my case, that's how it worked. Luis, page 14, pre-addictive. You talk about some characteristics of the personality, child or adolescent. In your point of view, what would be the best way to deal with a child or an adolescent that has these characteristics? Just like I said below, in therapeuticology, working on clarification task in a therapeutical manner, not just telling the child or the adolescent that certain situations are wrong. Most of them know it's wrong, but they need the person who's trying to make the assistance to understand what's the missing trait and what are the weak traits to overcome in a therapeutical way this condition. one should speak, not only
que não é bom, que causa isso, aquilo, outro,
perceiving
não
it.
resolve. A pessoa ela
And
pode
just saying that this is wrong
todos os efeitos que
is not worth.
Vício causa.
One can know by heart what are the bad results of an addiction. And we see this in the cases of some doctors. There are several doctors who are addicted. If we just consider intellectuality, this is incoherence, but it's an emotional problem. It's not an intellectual problem. That's what we need to take into account. We need to see the emotional factors.
Entendi, mas é que no caso eu estou fazendo essa
I
pergunta
understood,
porque uma
but
vez
I
a
am
gente
asking you
conversou
that
sobre
because
isso.
once we talked about this,
Normalmente nessas situações
normally
o próprio berço familiar não te
the
dá
cradle
muito
or the family environment
segurança, essa ajuda,
doesn't
né?
give you
Eu
this
conheço
help,
algumas pessoas que tiveram esse
and I've
problema
known people
e a família não tem
who
como
have
dar
had
esse
this problem,
suporte.
and their families aren't able
situação,
to be supportive. So in this situation, if the family is aware, or even the adolescent, the child is a bit more difficult to be aware, but the adolescent, how could he look for this help? You talk about the adolescent. Yes, because the child will hardly ever be aware of the fact that his family is not able to be supportive.
Já tiver interessado em prevenir, já mostra que ele já está preocupado com isso, que ele já está no caminho anti-vicioso, né? Se ele está já se preocupando com isso previamente. O problema é quando ele está na fase da adolescência e não está nem aí para isso. E a família também não tem suporte para dar para ela. É isso que é o problema. Se ele está interessado em evitar esse tipo de situação, só esse movimento dele ir atrás, dele procurar saber, ver o que ele pode fazer, de repente, procurar um terapeuta, entrar no voluntariado,
look for a therapist or a voluntary task, it shows his tendency to avoid it. Yeah, because when the adolescent does that, it shows that he will most likely avoid it. Yes, I would like to make a further remark. I have an experience with my nephew because their parents were at the basis of the problem, because at the birth he was rejected by his mother, and she had a post-delivery depression, so the parents didn't have a moral authority to deal with the situation. So since he was bred by his grandparents, his parents aren't able to give him support, so the group, in this case the family, really can't help him out too much. I noticed that it's interesting also to see the context, what's behind. Yes, the family may influence, and the family does influence, but I don't think it will be exclusively the family's fault. I don't think it will be only the family's fault, because there must be something coming from his poor genetics, because otherwise we would see lots of people who have suffered problems with their families and haven't entered this drug addiction, because there are people who have even more serious problems and don't even get close to drug addiction. So I don't really think that it's merely due to the family's influence, but rather as a result of the poor genetics. Yes, I think that it is emphasized when you have a family context that is a bit more supportive, it could avoid, and then of course it depends on the person if he's able to avoid it, to prevent, but I really think that the family could work as a helper. So if the person doesn't have the support he needs, in his mother or father, then it gets even worse. So I think that this family environment is very important to have these confidence bonds created. Yes, I think that the family is very important because the parents should understand, should know about the subject, how to deal and how to be more supportive in the right moment. Yes, because this nephew of mine, he used to rely on my mother rather than his own mother. So he didn't want somebody to criticize him, so that's why he tended to rely on those he trusted more. Now a question, in the last months I've been feeling changes in my life. In 2 weeks I was able to rent an apartment for me and my couple. I am in a very important phase of my voluntary tasks, and I am also a partner with my brother in a company, and I intend to get started with Penta this year. Therefore, I have felt a great pressure. I am feeling as if I was in a pressure pan, really. So even though I know that after passing all these I will be in a different realm of evolution. Yes, but take it easy. You can't embrace the whole world at once. You have to go slowly but surely. It seems that you're doing just too many things. You're spreading yourself too thin. You have to go easy and take it easy. Now a question for Luis. Infectology, page 10, line 4, bottom up. Could you talk about the differential diagnosis considering comorbidities? Yes, we have already talked about this, but I can touch upon the subject again, no problem. The whole thing is...
Isso daí é mais voltado, essa afirmação foi mais voltada para os profissionais, porque há muito diagnóstico prematuro,
because I see that the premature diagnosis and wrong diagnosis could lead the person to be treated for something that's not the case. So the main problem of the person, for example, is the addiction, but the person may also have bipolarity or depression and other pathologies. And the professional may take into account only the comorbidities, and that's not the case. The professional should focus on the main disease at the basis of the whole process. I have just set up a shop here for fishing and hunting in my city, Chapecó, and I was able to see that in my town, it's one of the stores in this segment, and I felt a kind of headache afterwards. Do you think it's related to what I sell? Yeah, it may be. We have to look into it. Now, on the internet, there is a family saying that they have been haunted by ghosts, poltergeists, really. Eliza Manning, a British woman, says that her house has been haunted by poltergeist, and she claims, have filmed the tables turning and so on. It should be a safe place, but it's not, she said. And she also mentions that she has to accompany her daughter to the school. You see, poltergeists phenomena have been happening too today. Now, a different thing. 5-year-old daughter finds out a fossil of 65,000 years old. The first excavation of Emily Balder will never be forgotten. The 5-year-old used a plastic rake to unveil the fossils in England, and she was able to see this fossil. It is a marine animal that used to live in the Cretaceous period. And the creature weighed 60 kilos. Here you can see the picture. It was this 5-year-old. And this girl will be linked to the paleontology process for the rest of her life. Now, another different thing. You see here that what happens to you is not something quite new. A monkey is able to recognize his friends in a picture. You see it here. A study by a German group was able to identify that adult monkeys are able to recognize friends in pictures. In the research, the monkeys took longer to analyze pictures of animals they didn't know, and they were able to identify, recognize the ones they knew. So those who have friends and forget about them just turn their backs on their friends. I would like just to remind you that even the monkeys are able to recognize friends. So, after all, I always say here that the primatology goes on. You see how many people we have here that turn their backs on their friends. So, now, could you elaborate on the causes of cancer? The genetic factors can really have an influence. And what about the psychological factors? The things you have lived, experienced in your life could be transmitted through your genes to your breeding. Well, all these factors play a role. In my case, for example, it was excessive exposure to UV lamps. That was my case, and I didn't know that the lamps were that strong, so that's how I was able to come to the conclusion that it was due to the lamps, because it was over my head, and since I work most of my time typing in front of the computer screen, opposite to the computer screen, that was the case. Now, the drug traffickers and drug carriers should have a different treatment. What it's all about, according to your experience? Well, I think that the drug users, first of all, there should be a clear distinction between the user, the dealer, the drug dealer, the carrier. That is, there should be a clear distinction, and in my opinion, there should be a greater attention to the one that's the user, because sometimes the user's intentions are not the same as the dealer's. And of course, they can make a kind of progress from being a user to being a dealer. So what should be seen is, because it's a disease, what are the factors that are at the basis of such disease? Now, for the author, the ingestion of chocolate bringing about the serotonin discharge, could it be used as a replacer for the drug? Yeah, because there is the chocolate addicted. So you can't give a drug to replace a different drug, because for many people chocolate is a drug. But is he asking if eating chocolate? Yeah, he's saying here the innocent ingestion of chocolate, but innocent is my eye. We have to see if this friend of ours is a little bit overweight. I suggest him reading On page 13,
3 itens ali embaixo de culturologia.
The 3 items below culturology, there is the obsessive compulsiveness,
Ali a
vice,
pessoa
and
vai ter uma
mania.
ideia clara do que é um vício, porque nem
In these
toda
topics, the person will understand what a
comeu uma vez ou
vice
outra
is.
chocolate,
It's not
vai dizer
because
que ela é
you
viciada em
ate
chocolate.
chocolate
Ou porque ela
once or
come de vez em
twice
quando,
that
não é
you will
isso.
become
Tem
addicted.
que
That's
ver
not
o
all. That's
prejuízo
not
que
about
está
it.
causando isso na
You
vida
have
da
to see
pessoa.
what
Está havendo prejuízo físico, né? Ela
the
está com
damages
pochete,
are
está havendo
in the
prejuízo
person's family. Is the
energético,
person
emocional,
overweight?
mental.
Is the
Ela está
person
obsessiva com essa ideia de comer
suffering?
chocolate, tem que observar
Is
esse
the
sentido.
person
Se tá,
well, there are
aí
many
já
factors that we
tem
have
que
to take into account,
se
because
pensar.
if there are factors
Assisti vídeo do senhor
impacting
na internet
on
que diz
his
que o
life,
Chico
then it's a
Xavier
problem.
atingiu o
I was
concretismo
able to
existencial pela
watch a
prática
movie
da Tacon.
in which
Já
you
o senhor,
said
com
that
diferente
Chico
missão,
Xavier
iniciou o trabalho no campo do esclarecimento
achieved
atávico.
his
Gostaria de
existential
saber se podemos
completion
considerar a
through the
personalidade de
consolation
Divaldo Pereira
task.
Franco,
So could we
orador e
consider
speaker, sendo
Edivaldo
colaborador não só da Tacon, mas
Divaldo
também da
Pereira
prática
Franco
da Tales?
as
Ou o fato dele ser espírita muda isso?
Divaldo
Eu só
Pereira
te
Franco
pergunto
as
uma
a
coisa,
completist? I would just like to
Só uma
ask you one
coisa.
thing, my friend
O
here.
cara que segue
The
uma,
guy who
no caso aí, uma
follows,
seita,
in this
que
case, a
hoje todo
sect,
mundo
because
admite, o
nowadays
espiritismo é uma
everybody
seita, ele pode
admits
fazer o
that
contrário?
Spiritism is a sect. Do you think that this person who follows a
Tare
sect
significa
can
tarefa de
perform the
conhecimento.
clarification
Uma pessoa que
task?
está numa seita
The person who's
esclarece
in a
alguma coisa?
sect clarifies something?
Agora, gente,
Now,
quero aproveitar
folks,
aqui para
I would
dizer
like
o
to
comunicado dos amigos da enciclopédia.
talk about
As
the Friends of the
empresas que são
Encyclopedia program, the
patrocinadoras
companies
dessa
that
tertulia aqui.
sponsor this
Vivenda do
tertulia.
Camarão,
Vivenda do Camarão,
Portato,
Subway,
Hooper,
Portato,
IPC,
Hooper,
Coraça,
Coraça, Pomari, Valda, and
Você quer
Menta
falar
Limão.
alguma coisa aí?
Would you like to say something? Yes, Valdo, I would like to highlight here that the author of the entry is also a sponsor of the
Vocês já
tertulia.
notaram uma coisa? Que a maioria aqui diz
Have you
respeito a
noticed
alguma coisa
that most of the companies here
Eu vou
are
até
related
anotar.
to food?
Vivenda do Camarão,
Vivenda do Camarão, Subway,
Pomari,
Pomari,
Valda,
Valda,
Menta Limão,
Portato.
São, aqui de
There
novo,
are
são 6.
6 of them out of 9.
Agora, ó, do
So
Pomari,
Pomari
é uma paixão
is a passion I nurture.
antiga. Eu não estou chamando
I know the
atenção
passion.
muito,
I'm
não.
not
Tá
calling
certo?
the attention
Aqui tem
to
até
them
a
too
pastilha
much.
Valda. Mas a
Because here there
Pomari
is pastilha
é porque tem
Valda, but
muita fruta,
Pomari,
o negócio é
because
muito
they have
sério
lots
lá,
of
de vez em
fruits.
quando.
So
E outra
it's
coisa,
very
o povo
good.
não gosta que eu fale das coisas,
And
porque
people
quando eu
don't
falo,
like me to
desaparece a
say
frase do produto.
too much thing because when I mention the product here,
Mas
it
essa
gets
turma
sold
é
out
boa.
on the
Mas
following
olha,
day.
de
But
9, nós
it's
temos
very good.
6
From
que estão
out
na
of
área.
9, there are 6.
espaços hoje na tertúlia.
Yes,
para
we
as
have
empresas
20
que querem
spots in the
patrocinar aqui
tertulia for the companies that would
tertuliário.
like to
Nós
sponsor the
estamos em
tertuliarium.
Já tem
Nowadays there are
desde julho
9,
de
but
2009, né, que a
since
gente abriu esse espaço.
June
E aí, há
2009,
6 meses, nós possibilitamos também
there have
duas
been
empresas
some,
patrocinarem com o mesmo
and
espaço.
since last
Então,
year we were
mês
able
fica
to
uma
have
empresa,
2
outro mês
companies
fica outra empresa utilizando
for
o
the
mesmo
same
banner,
spot, so
no
they
caso da tertúlia,
alternate
né?
1 month
E existem
each.
formas de pagamento
So
para
there are
isso,
ways
o
to
empresário
pay,
pode ligar para
so
nós.
the
O que nós fazemos é uma
businessmen
análise da
can
empresa, uma
get in
análise
touch
do
with
contrato
us,
social
so
da empresa também.
we carry out
Mas,
an analysis
essas
of
pessoas
the
todas que
company's
estão vendo que são
contract
patrocinadores
of the
de empresas,
company's
são pessoas, são
profile,
CEOs,
so
né, os
we see
administradores,
that
que
most
têm
of these
afinidade com a
people,
conscienciologia,
the
vendedores,
CEOs
pessoas que são
that
voluntários
have
aqui,
an
e
affinity
que
with
colocam sua
conscientiology,
marca vinculada à
like
enciclopédia da conscienciologia.
to
Eu me considero sócio dessa
attach their brand to conscientiology. Yes, I consider myself a partner
O Fernando vai falar
in
pouquinho
these
aqui só
of these
rapidamente sobre
companies.
uma
Yes,
promoção
now
que a
Fernando
gente
will just
está lançando pros amigos.
talk briefly about
Informar a todos que nos próximos dias estaremos
an
recebendo
advertising
o
campaign that we're
DVD
launching. I would
da
just
viagem
like to
do
tell you
Vieira,
that
Uberaba,
we're
em
going to launch the
2010.
DVD
DVD
of the
ele é
October
histórico,
2010
porque ele
Valdo's Vieira trip
documenta
to
aí de
Uberaba,
uma forma muito profissional,
and
com muita
it
qualidade,
was done in a
toda
very
a
professional
passagem
way,
do Waldo aí pelos locais que ele
and
viveu, que ele trabalhou,
we were able
a todos
to
os
be
pedidos,
leaded
as obras
by
que ele fez.
Professor Valdo to the places where he developed his assistance, where he developed his parapsychism. Yes, there is a part of, there is the lecture Valdo gave there, interviews with his med school friends,
Exatamente.
Dalva and some of Professor Waldo's friends. It's all edited, very professional, so it's being sold at the Epigraphy and the shopping mall, and the encyclopedia, Friends of the Encyclopedia program. We'll make a promotion for those who would like to buy this. Yes, and we have broken a record. We have 367. We're almost there. 367 friends enrolled. Yes, after the DVD, I would like you to talk about today's course. Yes, this DVD was produced. There were 2 DVDs. Rogério Oliveira from São Paulo produced the DVD, and with the whole of the lecture. And now the second DVD, which is a documentary on the places and the visits we did there. There is a part of the visit with Lady Dalva, Mr. Benet, Professor Waldo's friends, and the visit we did to the Chico Xavier Memorial. And there is an extra within the documentary. There are the passages and the visits and our visits to the med school, the TV, the Spiritist community, and there is an extra on the inauguration of the IIPC branch office and so on. But now, concerning the magistic exam, everything came very well, and it's been evolving. So there was a very positive reaction. The field was very good. It was very easy. It was one of the most smooth fields. There were 61 people enrolled, but some of them weren't able to show up. So 56 people took the exam this morning in discernimento, and I think that 30% were able to hand in their exam in the right time. Yeah, 30% stayed till the end. So in the first hour and a half, the first exam was handed in. Going to talk about some objects. Is Igor here? Yeah. In addition to Tertuliarium, Igor, for example, he received an apple. It was a fruit, a real apple. So he stayed the whole time there. And the assessors there, we were thinking about, is he going to eat that or not? And with the course of time, he went outside, he cleaned the apple, and he started eating the apple to further explore the apple. And after eating the apple, I will just do what he did. After eating, yeah, because the apple was in his imagination, he was thinking about the apple. And then he started writing about what happened to him. So it really showed our attention, the apple. Yeah, so from time to time we have to carry an apple there. Roberto Leimig also supplies the exam with different fruits. Yes. If there is a person who's bothering too much, you have to take an opossum there, and the person has to cope with the opossum. Now, a different aspect, Cristiani is from the assessor's team, but this year he decided to take the exam. Banana, they gave her a banana. That was very good. Antonio Pitaguari took a heart. So in the 3 years we have developed this exam, there has been a time with a skull, a human skull. Yeah, we have had a skeleton, but in the first exam, but a brain, a heart, the eye, and we also had... Yeah, for the next exam, let's not talk about that too much. But what else we had? The special Congo, a special bell, and we are dating that bell there to take it to the exam. Yeah, it's a big bell. Where did you find it? Is it bigger than ours? Yes. So why didn't you bring it here? Yes, I will take the bell and bring it here. Yeah, so you leave the big one here and you take the little one. But that little one is original. It's genuine from China. But we have to see the sound. It can't be just any sound, otherwise it will have an impact on our work here. Waldo, do you allow us to bring the bell here and have a trial here? Yeah, but I think that the exam was very good. And from the 56 people who took the exam, they took all different objects. Yes, the recyclers have new objects. All year we have new objects for the recyclers, and we used objects from the past exams for the new students, because we are not able to come with different objects every exams. But we always have new ones just for the ones who are taking the exam again. Yes, one of these days it would be good for you to stroll around with Roberto to pick objects, items from the nature. Yes, it would be good for you. And another thing, Roberto, when you do this, take the fruits people think know a lot and they know nothing. Even if the fruit is small, because then the person will be confused with the fruit. You see, guys, it's Professor Waldo who's giving the ideas. Yeah, because then people will complain afterwards, but it's not us, it's Professor Waldo. But now another thing, the class was very easy. We gave all the guidelines, everything was easy. Yes. Have you ever thought, of course I will talk about this here, but have you ever thought about taking the sensitive, flower and give to the person? Because we are in the right season and it's very beautiful. What the person could talk about, it's this is small and it's very beautiful. But within the synchronicity issues you have already touched upon, Osvaldo Amendola, you have worked in a telecom for 20 years, and he received a phone for his first time. Synchronicity is a fact, huh? Yeah, yes, it is, indeed.
Mas é isso. Vamos ver agora se no próximo ano nós vamos para 100 alunos.
So let's see if next year we reach 100 people, okay? Professor, today regarding the telephone, I had this recognition that I would have the telephone. So you passed it, right? No, when we arrived there, I said, oh, I'm going to the restroom first. If I hadn't gone there, I would have sat in that chair, on that chair. Yeah, Waldo, because people arrive and they sit in a sequence. They don't choose their seats. So it defines their destiny. The room is divided into two, and with recyclers from one side, new students in the other side, and that's how it happens. Professor, I think it's good to It's great, the mental somatic work we need to do. Besides the results, I've been there. What did you have? What did you have? What object? Ocular. Binocular. So it's good to have cosmovision, right? How many words how many items did you get? 57. 57. You are weak. Binocular. Well, we need to train. We need to exercise. Well, next year you make it again. So you reach 100. I think this is an exam of self-conscientiometry. It's a self-conscientiometry exam. Yeah, you were right. You were right. Luiz, letter B. I would like to call attention to an item, prophylaxis, about a game, Warcraft. I don't know if you know it, or if you have made any research. There are researches on it, and according to Swedish researchers, it's as addictable as crack. And there are 1 million users, and on YouTube we can search for greatest freakout ever. It's a boy that the mother took the game from him, and he's in shock, and his brother has recorded his images. Yeah, there are some adolescents that spend 12 hours non-stop, and they spend days and nights playing. The worst is not adolescents. The worst are the adults spending their weekends playing. Lives go away. I saw a Chinese boy that played 30 hours through and suicided to join the characters of the game. I don't remember the magazine, but I read something about a neuroscientist that showed the effects on the brain of a game player similar to a drug addicted. It was very similar. It was basically the same effect generated. Factology question. Factology. The mastery of the subbrain promoting. It seems that the subbrain is what is mastering. Couldn't you change the text? Oh, I see. The mastery of the subbrain. Well, maybe we have a different meaning here. Maybe you could say the self-mastery of the subbrain. Yeah, okay, yeah. We'll do this. We'll do so. The self-mastery of the subbrain over the consciential basement. I think it's good, guys. It's clear. Well, another question regarding the legality of the cigarette and the legality of the marijuana. Wouldn't it be just a matter of controlling the drugs to receive more taxes? What about the human being? Well, when you start selling a drug legally, you make an industry, you create an industry, similar to the cigarette industry, to the tobacco industry. It's craziness. In my family, there is an alcoholic addicted that doesn't accept help or treatment. His behavior creates too much trouble to his family, and there is a very strong bad intrusion over this person. How could we help in order for him to understand and change and look for treatment? Well, if you don't send this person to treatment, you just say goodbye. Okay, if the person doesn't want to treatment, the family can't just let go. You can bring together a psychiatric, you can talk to a lawyer, you can send a cemetery photograph to know where the person wants to be buried, to shock. There must be an intervention from the family, but a professional one. It must be professional. I don't know if you have compared the number of the entry today with the slavery abolition. I think it's very synchronic. Could it be commented, talked about the author? It's 1888. The year of the slavery abolition in Brazil was 1888, the same number of the entry. Well, you are playing Princess Isabel. You are playing Isabel Princess. Yeah, and the definition there is about slavery. The mega personology defines the consciential freedom. Liberology. Would epilepsy be connected to genetics or parapsychism? Well, it depends on the case. You must examine the case, perceive, and see the reach of the universe in that specific patient. There are both cases, can happen, can be specifically genetic, or can be both. I have benign possession with an extra-physical consciousness. There is mental interference, and I try to ignore these consciousnesses, and there is no way to have to deal with these consciousnesses. My mother wants to send me to the spiritual house. Well, this person knows everything about our cases here. You should know what you want. You don't know yet what you want. Please, letter A, please.
Ok. Você trata aqui no verbete.
Well, in the entry, you talk about the anti-addiction, and in prophylaxis.
E coloca na perfilologia
you talk about the devices.
Eu acho que poderia
I think that you could highlight the personality of the anti-addiction and include self-discernment, intersistence as items of this personality. Well, we are talking about the personality, this personality, and in this case I I talk about why these techniques exist, these anti-addiction techniques exist. My idea in this case is different. It's for people to identify themselves. We are talking about this anti-addiction personality, okay? And if you look for terminology, there are basically anti-addiction, you know? Consciential therapeutics, consciential metrics, you know? So let's listen to a different sound. Wow! That one is for me. It would be great if you have if we had a support. We need a support, a frame. Val, did you like that? So it's donated. Oh, thank you very much. Was this yours? Well, we can call you here sometime. They will have an open house, and it's very close to CX, so we can hear at distance. Have you ever thought about me calling people by ringing this bell? In Confucianism Institute, there is a huge one just like this one. There are those with those big cogs. They said, you can't touch this, okay? There's an echo because it surpasses the resonance process. It resonates. That's what we needed, because this way everybody is wakened up. This is the perfect one. I thank you very much on behalf of Tertulia. Would you like to say anything, Osvaldo? Well, I was going to ask a question. In my case, this item was very important. How about you? What's the importance of the evolutionary duo in the recovery of addiction? It's complete because the main problem is the psychosoma. In synonymology we have, antonymology, the syndrome of the affective ectopy. When we are not able to deal with our emotions, our affection, and when we find an evolutionary duo and we start relating in a mature and evolutionary way, applying the evolutionary duo technique, we start qualifying all of the other items within our lives. I think he deserves a kiss. Let's something adequate, okay? This is great. Luiz, letter B, on your researches, you talked about the 20 examples of addicted consciousnesses profiles. What is more subtle in terms of one perceiving that is addicted or something like that? The subtleties are just for the person, because it's not subtle at all. those who are outside the process perceive the problem. But the person itself, it's not that it's subtle. One doesn't want to see. One is not able to realize their own situation. And I see that this is a pattern. All of the profiles show this pattern. Is there anyone you consider more difficult to be perceived? Well, the worst one is the toxicomania. And the religious fanaticism also. But the toxic addiction is worse because there is biochemical interference. There is a biochemical impact. So for one to start to have self-criticism and realize how it is going through, one can even recover depending on the case. Well, on the emphatic sentence, you talked about the assistance as a solution, but for those people who have more difficulties, do you have any gradient? Well, one should make assistance. One only reaches the non-selfish assistance by starting something like those associations of Narcotics Anonymous. There are 12 steps. I don't remember all of them, but they need to go. People need to go to the institutions and talk about what they have been through, to share and make assistance. It's not just retribution. It's to strengthen what they have already achieved, the values they have already understood that are ideal. When they speak, when they say they are stronger, they feel stronger, that's assistance. And that's how they start making assistance. And non-stop, they need to try to reach the next level and moving on. In our case here, we know that we have pent-up. So what do we need to do to reach penta? We need to solve this, this, and that. So start solving it. So now what? We need to have an extra-physical clinic and so on. In the case of the adolescent, is it more complex? No. You work within their limits, within their levels. What kind of assistance can they do? Can they cut the grass? Can they pick up their brothers in school? You educate in an assistential way. It depends on the parents to show the practice. If parents are not assistential, it will be much more difficult to understand what assistance is. But if they have some experience regarding assistance, they will know from very young. There are several volunteering works. I'm not talking just about conscientiology. There are several kinds of volunteering work you can commit. On page 12, paradoxology, the second paradox is just a matter of a proposition. I think that maybe it would be better to change this proposition. Yeah, when it's in the infinitive, it's a matter of form within the entry. The paradox of the fear, but it was a correction where there is a sequence and the verb is in the infinitive.
O paradoxo deu medo de recair.
Oh, my suggestion is...
Não, é isso que eu falei mesmo. Não. Não, tá certo. É isso aí que eu falei.
Eu estou dizendo o seguinte.
It's correct.
Não, ele está falando do
No, he's talking about the first proposition.
Paradoxo de o medo de. Eu estou dizendo o seguinte, o paradoxo, esse DO juntar.
Mas não é
do
é
medo.
DO mesmo.
No, it's correct. It's correct.
Tá certo aqui do jeito que tá aqui?
Yes, it's correct.
Alguém pode esclarecer?
Can anyone tell me why it is correct, please? It's a matter of form. Well, form, okay.
Luiz.
Oi.
Luis, please, letter B, page 11, in technology. I would like you to talk about the technique of killing a mosquito with atomic bomb. In the case of addiction, what would it be? The mosquito and the atomic bomb, if this technique is good. It's a metaphor. But what would it be?
Não é essa a ideia.
No, the idea is not this correlation. It's for you to understand the following. Use all your resources, what possible and impossible, to finish the problem. I'm not saying that the addiction is a mosquito.
Eu vou explicar.
I'll explain. Is when you use all your resources, what you have and what you don't, try to find to finish the problem. If you know you have a problem and you just try to change your friends, it won't solve the problem. You need to change friendship, look for therapy, consciential therapy, treatment, spend 6 months in the hospital, use everything you have to finish the problem. Just imagine you trying to kill a mosquito instead of spraying an insecticide, throwing an atomic bomb. So do you think this technique is explaining what you told me?
Luis,
okay.
Eu também fiquei pensando a
Luis,
respeito
I also thought
disso.
about this.
Eu pensava na
I
impactoterapia
was
destrutiva
thinking about destructive
como
impact
bomba atômica,
therapy
como o recurso maior
as
para poder
an atomic
erradicar
bomb.
Isso, né?
Às vezes você tem um mosquito, em vez de você
Yes,
tentar
that's it.
matar o mosquito,
Instead of killing a mosquito with your hands, you
radical mesmo.
you must be radical using atomic bomb.
Aqui no A.
So nothing will
Só duas correçõezinhas que
remain.
já foram feitas na cognatologia, na última linha. Ali,
Cognatology,
e na
the
aquele
last
parênteses
line.
também,
Yes,
ali.
yes, there was a correction already. Okay.
Luiz, eu queria só fazer uma observação em perfilologia.
I would like to say something regarding prophylaxis. You're saying that the toxic addicted could be the worst condition, but I would like to call the attention to the hypochondriac condition, because I had two friends that started using drugs because they were intoxicated and they started doing stronger drugs. It's a wide door to toxic addiction. Yeah, it's very difficult to say which one is the worst, because one may be a window for the other. We may, for example, I have seen one here. Workaholic, for example. One may be workaholic, and then all of a sudden, one may be so anxious and start drinking. So it's difficult to say which is worse. Yeah, I agree regarding toxics, because there is the chemical intervention within the organism and it's more difficult to control. I'm just mentioning the hypochondriac subject because there are people that don't care and they say, oh, I have a son, he's worried about headaches and has aspirins.
Eu queria falar uma coisa da internet.
Folks, I would like to tell you something from the internet.
Fato igual esse.
To research a fact such as this, it's a pity that it's too far away.
São José de Ribamar,
it is in São José de Ribamar, in the state of Maranhão.
Maria Rodrigues de Aguiar Farias.
The lady is called Maria Aguiar Rodrigues Farias, 53 years old. What happens is that
ela há 2 anos plantou.
She planted 2 years ago a passion fruit tree, and
maracujá em forma de pênis.
The passion fruits started growing in the format of a penis, and it's perfect. In the shape of a penis, and she says that once I discovered I had a fruit like this in my yard, many people wanted to see them. Lots of people. The thing is that to get to the yard, people had to pass through my house, and in one of these visits my cell phone was gone. After this loss, she decided to limit the visitation, and she decided to charge R$2 per visitor, 15 per picture, and 20 to film it. And people say that her plant produces a lot, several passion fruits, over 40 fruits, and they get very yellow when they are ready to be eaten. The life in that property was very calm before the penis-like fruits started growing, and she became very well known in her area, neighborhood, and so on. So many people started visiting my place, she said. So now, how do you analyze this? Where is Roberto? Where is Roberto, the natural history man? You know that passion fruit, this one that I have at home, is a round. It's round shaped. Yeah, it should be a male passion fruit, right?
Tem todos os ingredientes.
And it has all the ingredients.
Tem tudo aqui, ó. Se eu for olhar
Everything is here.
Esse que ela está segurando.
If you take a look here and see how big it is.
Agora, gente.
But now, it is something to think about as an insolite case. Nature has such things. But now, where Roberto is? Roberto, do you think that this case could be a fraud?
Pode não ser maracujá mesmo, outro fruto.
Well, maybe not a passion fruit, maybe a different fruit, but it's unlikely. Yeah, if I were there, I would go there to study it. Yes, just checking. Yeah, we have to check it out. Now, Luis, very well done, very good. Let's keep going.Here is the second entry? Now, our commercial break. 118 signatures on the presence book, 22 presidential questions, 26 online questions, 51 presidential votes, and 11 votes online. Now we're going to have messages from Rosa, Marcelo, from Conscientious, William, the Education Symposium, Ivo, Healthy Consciential Program, and Paula, Vila Consciência.
8h30, 8h30 no discernimento,
30
tem uma
p.m.
série de
on,
atividades culturais,
in
né,
discernimentum,
que faz
there will
parte
be
da
a
agenda
series of
cultural aqui
cultural
da
activities.
Cognópolis.
It's part of the
Qualquer dúvida,
cultural
procurar o
agenda
Marcos
here
Dung.
in Cognopolis. If you have any doubts, look for
Boa
Marcos
tarde a
Dung.
todos.
Good
A gente está
afternoon, you
convidando
all.
vocês
We
para
are
novo programa
inviting
Vivetografia,
you for the
que vai
new
sair novamente naquele modelo
entry writing
intensivo
program. It will
semipresencial.
be a
A gente já
semi-presential
tem 3
intensive
aulas
course. We have
gravadas que estão
3
disponíveis
classes
na
recorded.
página
They
do
are
Vivetógrafo.
available at the
E
entry
essas
writer
3 aulas
page, and
online,
these
elas são
3 online
gratuitas, elas
classes
são
are free of charge.
disponíveis para quem
They
quiser
are available
assistir.
for
Quem
those who would
quiser
like
fazer
to
esse
watch
programa
it. Those who
Vivetografia,
would like to
ele vai
sign
ter
up
que
for
assistir
this
essas aulas
program,
porque vai fazer
the person, of
parte
course, will
do
have to
programa. Depois de
watch
assistirem
these
essas
classes
3
because
aulas
it's part of the
online,
program. After
online
watching
não,
them,
gravadas, né? Via internet. A pessoa
the
vai
person
começar
will
a fazer as atividades ali
start
propostas,
taking the
a
activities,
atividade ali proposta, e vamos então
and
começar na
then
parte presencial.
we will
Os dias
get started
serão
with the
dia
presential
7 e 8
part. It will
e
take place
21, 22
the
de
7th
maio.
and the
Nós
8th,
concentramos em
and the
2 fins
20th
de
and
semana.
21st of May. We
Sábado
have
e
concentrated
domingo,
the courses
aí
on
pula
a
um sábado e
Saturday and
domingo,
Sunday
vem um outro sábado e domingo. Então são 2 fins de semana
in
não
May,
consecutivos.
so they are
A
2
nossa
non-consecutive
motivação para fazer esse curso
weekends.
agora
Our
é que
motivation
nesse
to do
grupo
this
de
course
20
now is that
pessoas,
in this
nós
20
temos entre os
person
veretógrafos,
a
né,
group we have
9
among the entry
que
writers,
fizeram os nossos
9
programas
who
anteriores,
have
sendo que já
taken
nós
the
tínhamos mais 4 anteriores
previous
já
programs,
publicados. Então,
and we
até
also
o
had
momento,
4 of them
nós
published. So
temos
up to
13
now we have
veretógrafos publicados
13
que
entry
participaram
writers
conosco
who
aí
have
do
published
programa
their
Vivetografia.
entries and
E a
who
gente
have
está convidando
participated
então
in this
vocês
program. So that's
para
why
não
we are
perder essa
inviting you
onda, para entrarem
not
agora no
to
Vivetografia
miss
e
out
colocarem aí
this
o
boat,
verbete de
so
vocês
then you can
para serem
put
publicados
out your
também.
entry
Nós temos só 20
Now we
vagas,
have
então a gente
only
pede para que
20
vocês façam a
places,
inscrição o mais
so that's
rápido
why we would
possível,
like you
tá
to
bom?
sign up for the course
Obrigada.
as soon as possible. Thank you.
Boa tarde.
Good
Você sabe
afternoon.
bem quem você é.
Do you really know
A
who you
Conscious
are?
convida você
Conscious
a aprofundar
invites you
na sua intraconsciencialidade,
to
conhecer
go
quem é
deep in
você de
your
fato, através do curso
interconscientiality to
Fundamentos
get
da
to know who you are
Conscienciometria.
through the course
Ele irá ocorrer a
Fundamentals of
partir do dia
Conscientiometry.
19,
It will take
terças-feiras à
place
noite.
from the
Para quem não
19th
puder à
on
noite,
every
será
Tuesday
aberto uma turma
night.
aos fins de
For those
semana,
who cannot,
na sequência.
a weekend
Quem
program
tiver
will
interesse,
be
entre em
set up
contato na
to
recepção
those
do
who would
CAF.
like to
Obrigado.
participate to get in touch
Olá pessoal,
with
nós estamos aqui
the
para falar sobre a jornada de educação conscienciológica.
lobby
A jornada
reception.
costuma acontecer a cada
Now we're
2
here
ou
to
3
talk
anos,
about the
é um evento
educational
bastante grande, participam vários candidatos
symposium.
à docência
Several
e professores de
candidates, teacher
conscienciologia de
candidates
vários
take place
locais
and
do
several
Brasil e até de fora
conscientiology
do Brasil.
professors
Em
from
geral,
both
temos mais de
Brazil and
200
abroad take
alunos e
place.
esperamos ter novamente
Actually,
este
we
ano
have over
mais de
200
200
students.
participantes.
We have had
A jornada
over
acontecerá
200
aqui em
students,
Foz do Iguaçu.
and
A
the
data
event
da
will take
jornada é do
place
dia
here in Foz do
7 até
Iguaçu
o dia 9
from
de outubro.
the
Isso vai
7th
ser
to the
justamente
9th of
a
October,
inauguração ou o início das
and
atividades, que
it
são
will-
os 10 dias de ciência conscienciológica.
it will be the beginning
Então,
of
você que
the
está nos ouvindo agora pela internet, o
10
pessoal que está aqui,
conscientiology,
pode
10
reservar na
scientific
sua
days in
agenda um
conscientiology. So
espaço
those
de uma semana toda
that
para estar em
would
Foz
like
do
to
Iguaçu
participate,
e
you
participar
can
de uma série de atividades. Eu
reserve
vou
in your
falar
agenda
muito
a 10-day
brevemente e
period
vamos explicar essas
to be here
atividades
in Foz do
nas
Iguaçu.
próximas divulgações.
In the
A
next
jornada de educação,
tertulias, I
cursos,
will further
pré-aula, MBE
explore
para professores
the
de
program. There will be
itinerância conscienciológica, o curso para os professores,
conscientiological
profilaxia das
itinerance
abordagens
and the
dogmáticas,
prophylaxis
Fundamentos
of
da
dogmatic
Cientificidade,
approaches,
e, por fim, você encerra a sua
scientificity,
estadia aqui em
and
Foz com
then
o
you
segundo
will
Congresso
end up
Internacional de
taking
Verponologia.
the
Eu
second
considero
Verponology
imperdível
Congress.
essa
I
semana.
think that
Aqueles que estão
you
escrevendo
can't
seus
really
artigos
miss it.
para envio para a
Those who
jornada de
have been
educação,
writing
vocês têm até o
their
final do mês de
papers,
abril. Então,
you have till
caprichem
the end of
e
April
enviem
to
logo
send your
os seus artigos.
papers,
Mais informações no site
and
da
further
Reaprendência,
information
www.reaprendência.org.
with
Obrigado.
.org.
Pessoal, muito boa tarde a todos.
Folks, good
Estou aqui
afternoon,
para
you
divulgar
all.
o
I
curso
am
modular
here
Saúde
to promote
Consciencial.
the modular
O início
course,
vai ser agora no
Consciential
próximo final
Health.
de
It will
semana,
get started
dias
next
9 e
weekend,
10 de abril.
9th
O
and
curso
10th
modular
of
Saúde
April.
Consciencial ele tem
This
22
course
módulos
has
e a duração
22
do curso é de
modules,
2
And the entire
E o
course
primeiro módulo
takes
está
2 years.
começando
The
agora
first
no próximo
module
final
will
de
get
semana.
started now, next
Para maiores informações,
weekend.
pode
For
entrar em
further
contato no telefone
information,
da OIC,
you can call OIC
1404, ou então entrar em
3025
contato através do
0404
e-mail
or
modular@oic.org.br. Obrigado.
oic.org.
Boa tarde aos condôminos do Vila
Good
Consciência.
afternoon,
Agora à tarde
Villa
teremos a
Consciential
Assembleia
residents.
Geral
Now this
no
afternoon we are going
auditório
to
do
have the
discernimento
General
às
Assembly
15 horas.
in the
Então,
Discernment
todos os condôminos estão convidados à Assembleia
Auditorium
Geral
at
no
3.
discernimento às 15
All the
horas.
residents
Hoje.
are invited.
Obrigada.
Thank you.
Para amanhã teremos o
For
verbete
tomorrow we are going to have
Análise
the
das
entry,
ideias, eleito com 23
analysis
votos,
of the
a
ideas,
especialidade mental somatologia,
elected with
o autor,
23
professor
votes.
Sandro
Mental
Batistella.
somatology
Obrigado pela
is the
presença de
subfield
todos e até
Professor
amanhã.
Sandro Batistella. Thank you all for your presence.